Hi guys, good day. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Edjie. So I'm a game producer. So I've been working on the gaming industry for quite some time already. So I was a game or a software engineer before, and then pursued to be a game designer, and then eventually I became a game producer, like today. And today we're going to discuss, or I'm going to share with you some effective live ops strategies that I have experienced or did in my entire career. Okay, so first, you need to have a goal. So what's the most important goal of all is to keep the players happy. Okay, why? This is because uh, when the players are not happy, they're going to stop playing, right? And then when they stop playing, uh, nobody's going to care about your game, and definitely nobody's going to spend on it, right? So the best way to have, or to the best goal, or the best thing to do is to keep your players happy all the time. Okay, am I making sense? Okay. So before, in the old days, we develop games, and then after developing for some time, we are launching it either by releasing a cartridge or a CD, and eventually you just pray that there should be no bugs because you weren't uh, able to fix it. But now, since we already have an internet, it's now more complicated. It's not about just building and then releasing. We, today we need to also consider the live ops, or the aftercare, or the things that you're going to do after you release your game. So in this diagram that I'm sharing with you, these are the, if you're going to compare it from before, it's just like this, but now it's now more complicated because now we have internet, right? So we can now update games, or we can now send patches anytime we want, so that in case there's an emergency or there's a bug, we can simply just release a hot fix for it, so it's fixed already. You don't need to wait for another like months because you have to produce cartridge, or better yet, if players, or if we have internet before, it would be much easier, but now it's really much easier because now we have this back end wherein you can just configure anything, or like any data, or you can just configure anything about your game in your game, and then it will just instantly reflect to your players. Okay, and also today now we have this kind of course, customer service, and we have this analytics or business intelligence. So okay, so I'll give you one example of failure to success, a story. So this was a pretty old app already, so it's from 2012. So if you guys know The Simpsons Tap Out, it's a very popular title. So it was released in iOS before. So it was released on April 2012. So during this time is the time where iPhones or smartphones are getting popular, right? So there are only few games available out there. So the chances of you getting noticed is really high because there's only few selections. But for this, The Simpsons Tap Out was released last 2012, April 2012, and they become one of the top 10. However, however, there's a huge surge of players downloading and accessing the game. So the server crashed. The server couldn't handle the stress or the load of a lot of players logging in and everything. So it crashed. It crashed for like 168 days. This is too long. 168 days is like 3, 6, 9, 12. So almost 6 months, right? So it's too long. And if you're going to think of that, there's no, for example, sales. There's no sales coming in. So you have to just develop the fix in order for your server to be up and running again. Okay. However, after that 168 days, they were able to relaunch it again last August 17, 2012. So they became the top grossing game for 2 years because they fixed what was the problem. The problem was basically the system is not live ops ready. So when they fix everything and then relaunch, everything went smooth and they became top 2 grossing game for 2 years. That's too long, okay? And they had 36 times updates. And they have this $132 million total revenue just for this game, okay? So anyway, what is live ops? So live ops are changes to your game after it goes live. So unlike before, that let's say for example the old Mario games, when they release it via cartridge, if they need to add more levels or they need to fix something in the game, let's say there's a bug, they couldn't do that anymore because they have to either release a new cartridge or just make a Mario 2, right? So now we can now do updates after we release the game simply because we have this called internet, right? So the things that you're going to do after you release the game are called live ops. Okay, that's why it's live, because you already released it. Okay, and generally these are the things that does not require development or coding. Okay, so live ops are, for example, new cosmetic items, new armor, new shield, new boots, or whatsoever. And then also another thing is a limited time offer. Let's say you want to have like buy 2 get 1 free or 50% off, something like that. So those are also called live ops. And also this weekend event or daily event, monthly event, anything regarding events, those are called live ops. Okay, and also paid user acquisition campaigns are also called live ops, because unlike before or today, after you release the game, it doesn't end there. You have to still acquire players so that you can retain, because we have this called retention rate, right? So after you release the game, it doesn't end there. You should be able to have a promotion for your game to acquire new users. Okay, so what are not live ops? What are not live ops? Okay, these are the new features. New features, let's say new mechanics, new game modes, or anything that is new to your game that requires coding. Okay, that requires a software engineer or a developer to do that. Okay, so those are not live ops, though they are. Let's say after you release the game, your game is already live. Though it's already live, and it requires development, it's still not live ops. Okay. Okay. Next. So we have these key components of live ops, but we're going to talk about the first 3 only. Okay. First one is the business intelligence. Okay, the data science. So what is data science or business intelligence? Business intelligence are the reports or the findings or the analytics in your game, the one that you discover in your game. Okay, it is not the glamour metrics. We call it glamour metrics because it's always there. It's the basic. Those are the ARPU, the AU, downloads, etc. A good business intelligence is the one that is tied to a player behavior. So let's say when they did something, let's say they bought a lot of potion, it says something to your game. It gives you a proper report. I'll give you an example. Okay. So the first thing to know if it's a good business intelligence or if it's a good report is it answers why, when, and who. Okay? So let's say, for example, we had this event during the weekend, and the event was like a new dungeon is open, and then at the same time we hosted promotion in the shop, in the store. So we had a lot of sales. Okay, so I analyzed the game, I analyzed the data, and I found out that today's sale is lower by 50% compared to yesterday. Okay, so a good report or a good business intelligence should answer why, when, and who. Okay, so when I have this kind of report, like today's sales is low by 50% compared to yesterday, it should be answered by why. Why? Because players still have enough items stock in their inventories, so there's no need for them to buy a new one. So it answers why. So it also answers when, because since we launched a special promotion during the weekend with big discounts, a lot of players bought during that time and they have a lot of stocks. So on the next day, they don't need to buy new stocks because they still have more. And who? This decrease in sales are only from the all players who bought from the sale or from the promotion. So a good report should be always answered by these three questions: why, when, and who. Okay, so you guys, when you're going to check your analytics in the game, when you find something, it should always be answerable by when, why, and who. Okay, and it should also be be actionable. Okay, what I mean in actionable is, let's say, as you guys can see in this two graph, we have this monthly game revenue and then today's revenue versus yesterday. So when we say actionable, it means that you can take actions immediately. Okay, for example, on the left side in the monthly game revenue, you can see the entire revenue per day for the entire month, for the whole month of August, right? But you can see on some parts or some days, the sales are very low. The revenue is very low. So it's already September. So it's already late to know what is happening on August 6th and the other days, which are the sales are, the revenue is low. It's really hard to know because it's already passed for a few days already. But compared to the other graph on the right side, today's revenue versus yesterday, you can see that today's revenue, the red line, is much lower compared to yesterday. So when we say actionable, you can take actions immediately. So as soon as you see that the today's sale is lower compared to yesterday, you can now take actions. Actions like, let's say, you're going to release a promotion on the midnight on 6 p.m. or on 6 p.m. so that the sales today can catch up similar to what we had yesterday. So those are the actions that you can take when you see something. Okay, so the report should be actionable. Okay, that's the first one. So let's talk about the second one, the in-game events. I know you guys, most of you guys play games, not only on mobile, but other online games too. So we have this in-game events. So these are the events inside the game, okay? So I have this one good example, the Disneyland. So my question is, why do people keep coming back to Disneyland? Even though they've been there for several times already. The answer is because Disneyland hosts themed events, okay? Themed events. Christmas theme, Halloween theme, Easter egg or Easter theme, something like that. So that's the reason why people are coming back to the same place. So it's similar. It should be similar to your game also. So when you release a game, you should still have weekly or daily or monthly events that keeps your players engaged. Okay, so because if you don't have events, your game's gonna be boring because eventually players will just will get used to your game. So it's really important to have games. Okay, or to have events rather. Okay, so I'll give you another example of an event-driven game. This is the Tetris from iOS. So as you guys can see on the graph, they have these spikes, right? So the spikes are caused by the events only. So they host events every other day, and that events affect their revenue. Not only revenue, but also the other KPIs, like CCU, like concurrent users. Because when you have an event on a certain time, the concurrent users also increases because a lot of players are logging in at the same time. Okay. And when you're going to create an event, of course, this is also important. You need to have a calendar. Why? Because simply because in your calendar you can see all the cascaded events in one sheet, and then you can also compare the KPIs. As you can see here, I have this different kind of events. Each event has their own color, and then on each day it has a corresponding target and then the achieved sales. So let's say on this part, can you see my cursor? Okay. On this part, it's a start of the month, right? It's start of the month, so it is expected to have this much sales. This is the target sales. We release a lot of events during the start of the month, so we expect or we targeted a lot of sales coming in. Also, the reason why we have this during the end of month or start of the month, usually when you're going in global, or usually in many countries, the credit cards resets every end of the month. So that's just the simple reason behind it. Anyway, so yeah, so when we're going to create an event, also we have to consider the different types of our players. So since you already know, or you already have the data of your game, and then you can see your players, your different. Let's say you have 10,000 players. Of course, you can categorize them based on their cohorts, right? So you can categorize them, which are the spenders, which are the ones that who always go to PvP, which are the ones who do more achievements or daily goals, something like that. So based on those type of players, you can now craft a different type of events. So let's say you have 80% players who are like doing PvP. So it's more likely that you're going to create an event that specializes in PvP or in battle, right? So yeah, that's it. Okay, and also another thing that we're going to consider when we're going to create event is it should be playful. It should be like fiction. It should tell you, like, it should be telling like a story, something like that. So it doesn't need to be like robotic, or the text should also be playful, like you're reading a comic. So that's also important, because we don't want players to feel like this kind of events are auto-generated, right? So that's the reason. Okay, and then we also have different types of events. So aside from the players, we have different types of players. We also have different types of events. Okay, so let's talk about it one by one. So we have this fun event. Fun event are like events that only, for fun. So it doesn't require you to spend. It doesn't require to have anything. Anyone can usually participate in this kind of event. So I have this example, the Guess the Monster in Ragnarok Online, and Dragon Nest Valentine's screenshot. So you just need to dress up and then print your screen and then submit it to their social media pages. Okay, so it doesn't require you to spend on anything. It doesn't require you to have this much of money, or you just need to spend time and enjoy. So those are the fun events. Next type of event is the monetization event. Okay, these are the promotions in the shop. Let's say for limited time offer, when you buy 40 pieces of this, you'll get plus 5 or something like that. Anything that requires spending, our monetization event. Okay, and there are direct or indirect monetization event. So for example, the crafting event. Um, let's say you don't want to explicitly tell players to spend, right? So you're going to create an event wherein they have this armor that can be crafted using 3 materials. So the last one should be let's say the metal or the iron can only be obtained inside a cave, and then in order for you to get inside that cave, you have to buy the key. So it doesn't explicitly tell you to buy this in order for you to get this, but it's, you know, it's still monetization event. Okay, and also there are type of events that are let's say spenders week. So as many things you buy, the many things you buy, the better bonus you have. Okay. Okay, another type of event is the content event. Let's say you want to promote a certain map or a certain boss. So you're going to, let's say we release a new map, and then you want all players to explore that newly released map. So you're going to have, let's say, ×3 drop rate on this specific map, and then every people will just go there and play there, right? So those are just content event examples, just promoting new contents on your game. Okay, next, marketing event examples. These are the basic ones: the interstitials, the cross promotions. Let's say you can usually see this kind of events or this kind of promotions in casual games, wherein they cross promote different, games. Okay, and then we also have this tactical event wherein after you analyze your player types, you have to analyze the player behavior as well, right? And then after analyzing players' behavior, you're going to craft an event based on, let's say, people or players are more likely to, let's say, more likely to use this kind of sword rather than this one. So you're going to create an event wherein they give plus 10 bonus if you're going to use this type of sword. So those type of kind of events are usually tactical events wherein the designer or the developer, the publisher of the game, analyzes the player behavior in order for them to tailor a good event. Okay, so I also have these other examples, but you can just print screen and then read the text. Okay, so now we have discussed the business intelligence, in-game events, and offers and promotion. So now we're going to discuss the offers and promotion. Okay, offers and promotions. So basically, these are the discounts, the limited time offer, those things that promote spending. Okay, so I'll give you one example, but this is a good example. Okay. So Uber released an Uber Pool, the pooling service in car rental service. So this pooling feature, they released this on June 15, 2016, and then their competitor Grab couldn't compete. I mean, they couldn't release the pooling features because their system is not ready. It's not prepared. So when they're going to promote something, or when we're going to release something, or when we're going to promote something, our system should be able to be scalable in order for it to support this kind of feature, right? So basically, what we're trying to do is to make the system scalable, so that whenever we are going to release a new feature or a a new service, it should be easy to to scale, to adjust. Okay. Because one of the problems that we usually encounter when we make games is, let's say, okay, we are going to create this kind of feature. The developers or the designers will react like, we should have been told before that we're going to do this. Otherwise, we're going to do refactor a lot, because we're not prepared, or the system is not prepared for that particular change. So that's the usual dilemma. Okay. Yeah, just another promotion example, limited time offer. When you're going to add time in your limited time offer, it gives the impressions of urgency to the player. So we usually give bigger discounts, especially when we have limited times. Okay. And then another thing, another good practice is putting the best sellers, the hot items, number of people who bought these items in your shop, so that it attracts more players. Yeah, especially the new ones, or the newbies, the new players. When they see the top seller items, it usually gives them an idea of why most of the people buy this type of item. Okay. Lapse user promotion is basically a promotion for players that are no longer playing anymore. So let's say you are inactive for day 4. You just receive a message, and when you're active by 8 days, when you're inactive in 8 days, you're going to receive a small gift, like say, like, hey, come back, I'll give you, let's say, 5 potions, and then so on. Okay, so those are called lapsed user promotions. Okay, so how to build a live ops ready game? So you need to have analytics, you need to have localization, you need to have messaging, gifting. Your game should be able to know the target, or you should be able to do segmentation of your players. And then, of course, the most important thing is your system should be able to handle, or should be able to change key game variables on the fly, because it's live already. Okay, so let's talk about the analytics first. So when we say analytics, it's all about, it's not about reading, like when we talk about reading the database, is when we pull data from the database, right? So that's reading. But a good analytics is not all about pulling data. It's all about writing it. Okay, so when we are going to handle like 1,000 of players, and then 1,000 of players are using potions simultaneously, your system should be able to handle recording each action on your database, because you will be needing those data in order for you to analyze your game. Let's say, how many players are using this potion in this specific time, let's say during midnight. So maybe you can, since a lot of players are using a lot of potions by 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., maybe you should put a good promotion during that time, right? So your system should be able to handle a lot of writing in the database. Okay, so that's a good analytics. Localization. So when we say localization, it can boost your revenue by, of course, 30 to 40%. That's real. Okay, and it's not all about the text and the messaging. It's all about the design also of the game. It's not all about, let's say, when you're going to release in Japan, your game should also have a Japanese text on it. It's not all about that. Localization is not all about that. It's also about the game design. So I'll tell you a story wherein we have this feature in our game, wherein after you kill the player, you can rob his gold. So, and then you can just run away. So we have that feature, but when we release in Japan, players do not use that feature. Unlike when we release in global, Western people are more likely to rob you after they kill your player. But in Japan, they deliberately not not to press the rub button. Maybe because it's their culture, and there's also a time where we see players when they accidentally presses the rub button, they apologizes to the player. Let's say, I'm sorry, I accidentally tapped the rub button, so I'll give you your coins back. Just kill me my character and rub everything on my inventory, something like that. So it's also about the culture of your specific target market. So that's one example that we experience in Japan. Okay. Also, machine translation, it's not good enough yet. When we say machine translation, this is the auto translate feature from Google, from other services. So as of now, it's still not 100%. So we do not rely on this technology yet. So usually we hire translator, because another example is that when you're going to release a translation in Japan, it's not gonna be a direct translation. It should be they have this called gamified message. So it doesn't work when you directly translate an English word to a Japanese word. It doesn't work like that, because it will sound formal. It will sound weird. So they have this gamified translation. So they have that one called gamified translation. So we also hire translators before. Okay. Messaging. So basically, your system or your game should be capable of communicating with your players. Okay. For example, you're going to have a system maintenance. So your game should be able to post a message wherein players can see that, hey, we're going to have a maintenance by this time, for this time, right? So your system should be, or your game should be able to handle that. And also, another example is that, let's say when you have an incident, or when you have a failure, something like down. Let's say your game was down for, let's say, 1 hour. So your system should be able to post a message like, we do apologize, blah 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 blah. So basically that's it. So there are different ways to do that. We have this in-game chat or messaging window. Some people do this if they have this back end. We also have this message of the day. This pop-ups appears on every time or every first time of the day. We also have these banners. So those are also kind of messages. Interstitials that appears suddenly inside the game or when it's triggered. Social media, if you have any social media accounts. And if your game is already big, you might as well have a community website. Okay. So that's messaging. Okay, so another thing is gifting and awarding. So your system or your game should be able to support rewarding or compensating to your players. For example, so I am a player and then I bought an unlimited stamina for 1 day, right? So I bought unlimited stamina for 1 day for $2. And then suddenly after a few hours, the game was down. It was, let's say, down for like 6 hours, so I couldn't play. However, I bought an unlimited stamina for the entire day so that I can enjoy playing with no troubles. However, there was an incident where the game is down, so I couldn't play. So your system or the publisher or the system should be able to compensate the player, should be able to give or award or give the things that they spent. Let's say, okay, let's say you're going to send a message. Okay, we do apologize that you have inconvenience, blah blah blah. As a compensation, we're going to give you this free 7 days unlimited stamina. Sorry for the trouble, blah blah blah. So your system or your game should be able to support that kind of actions. Okay. Okay, targeting and segmentation. This is also very important because here, what we need to do is basically your system just needs to know how to filter data. Let's say you have this 10,000 players. Your system should know how to filter how many of them are using this type of potions, how many of them are able to do PvP, something like that. So your back end, your admin page like this should be able to handle that. Okay? The CMS, of course. Modifying game variables for event. Yes, this is very important. So like what I discussed earlier. So let's say you already noticed that your today's sale is very much lower compared to yesterday, right? So your idea for you to catch up the sales is to host an event on later afternoon or later in the evening. So your system or your game should be able to modify the game variables on the fly. So you should be able to change like the experience rate in the back end in the CMS, right? So examples are like the rate of experience, the rewards table, energy recharge, the prices of the items, the gacha contents, etc. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is your system or your back end, your CMS should be able to handle modifying game variables. Okay, since we're dealing live, we should have, or we should always have, a contingency plan. So because we cannot avoid incidents. So what are incidents? So it is something that prevents player to enjoy your game. So the examples are game data imbalance, reward discrepancies, misinformation, revenue related matters, let's say wrong pricing, wrong bundle, wrong content, or whatever. And then connection disruption, game is down. So those are incidents. Anything that prevents your players to enjoy your game are incidents. Okay, so we rank incidents based on their severity. Okay, so the lightest incident is the rank C. These are the failures that are actually not incident, but in the eyes of players, it's not an incident, but on us as admins, it is, right? Let's say wrong file name. So the players couldn't see it's a wrong file name because they can only see the front end. But in our case, in our CMS, the ones that are uploaded has wrong file name. So it's kind of mess up the workflow inside the operation. Those are the rank C. Okay, rank B incidents are the light errors. Players can see this. Let's say wrong text, wrong grammar, wrong spelling, wrong image. Those are rank B incidents. It doesn't break the game, but still an incident. Okay. Rank A incident is like a part of your service is unavailable, or let's say the PvP mode is unplayable, so it gives you some kind of error. Those are rank A incidents. A certain part of your game is not working. So the last one, the most critical incident type is the rank S. These are the incidents that are related to money. Let's say wrong price, wrong content. So those are rank S. Anything that is related to money, and also when your game is down, those are rank S incident. So when we say your game is down, players cannot play your game. Definitely, you're not going to earn revenue. So that's why it's rank S. Okay. So this is the usual workflow that we need to do in case there's an incident. Okay. The first thing is when there's an incident, all members should report the incident through Slack, email, SMS, or call, wherever. So whoever sees an incident, whoever it is, whether it's the CEO, the developer, the producer, the customer service, they should always report the incident. Okay, so based on the incident rank, the producer is going to do a certain workflow. For incidents rank C and rank B, the product manager doesn't need to get involved in this because it's easy to resolve. But for rank A and rank S, it should be reported to the product owner. So those are the types of workflow. And of course, whenever there's an incident, the customer service should always inform the player that there's a problem happening or happened. Okay, it has to be transparent to the players. Okay, so that's it. So we have this live ops checklist. So you want to know if your game is live ops ready, right? So you have to ask this following questions, like can you modify game variables? Can your business intelligent tools analyze player behavior? Can you set up different types of events? Fun events, monetization events, something like that. Can you create limited time offer like 50% off on your items? Can you send a message to your player? Let's say you're going to have a maintenance by tomorrow, this time. Can your system do that? Or can you grant items to your player? Let's say some players couldn't connect, or some players there was a glitch in your game and some players lost their item. Can you grant them items? So those are the questions that you need to answer. And if your answer for all of these questions are yes, definitely your game is now live ops ready. Okay. So pretty much that's it. These are the manpower rules, but I'm not going to discuss this further. So that's all, guys. So thank you guys for listening. So again, my name is Edjie Santos, and I'm a producer. Thank you for your time, for listening. If you have any questions, you can just send me a message or an email, edjie.santos@gmail.com. So yeah, that's all. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.